Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Christian Weir of TJ Speed Motorsports in the USF Pro 2000 series. How's it going, bud?
Great. How are you, man?
Doing well. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and like and subscribe. That's what the audience needs to do when they watch this. All right. Well, Christian, talk about this weekend at Mid-Ohio. How do you think it went?
I'd say it's a pretty average weekend. The pace was never really there. Race pace struggled a little bit. Qualifying pace also struggled. It was definitely really fun racing around there. It's one of my favorite tracks, and definitely in this car, it's sketchy. The turn one is really fast now. They just repaved it. Yeah, first time going there in this car, pretty much mid pack. Best finish was eighth. I feel like we raced really well. We went up quite a few positions. I think first race I started 15th, finished 8th. Second race started 13th, and I think I finished 13th. It's really hard to pass around there. Of course, the first race was really chaotic because that changed to rains halfway through, but it was dry for the last two laps. Yeah, really it's kind of a chaotic weekend, but also it's pretty physical around there. So after the weekend, I was a little sore for sure.
Yeah. What do you think the toughest part is about getting around a track like Mid-Ohio?
I feel like it's really the flow. Because here, let me count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners in a row from turn 4 to turn 9. Yeah, turn 4 to turn 9-ish. It's especially on a qualifying run, the first lap really is, the lap, but it's really hard to kind of judge where you are because, of course, whenever the track's new, every session it was developing and changing with the new tires, you didn't really know where the car was going to be. So it kind of throw you off a little bit. Getting the rhythm was hard. I feel like I maximized the rhythm pretty well when we were quick kind of right out of the box, but it was just, yeah, the pace wasn't there. So it was really tricky getting around.
Yeah. So talk about this overall, what can you really take anything from this weekend and as you get ready for Toronto?
Yeah, I feel like we can take how clean it was. Mid-Ohio, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of crashing. A lot of people either lost a wing or something. Both races, we were kind of in the midst of all the carnage, but all three of our cars of TJ Speed stayed clean. And of course, we're on Toronto. That's a hard track to stay clean at. So it gets a little tougher from Mid-Ohio. So that's a good thing to take away. Of course, being able to battle mid-pack, we were a little racy in the first race, so it's definitely promising for Toronto.
Yeah. So kind of talk about, Toronto, another street course. What's that going to be like? Because it's Toronto, Coda, and then Portland to finish out the year. But I don't want to get too far ahead. Let's go to Toronto. How do you get around a track like that and, going to some of these places now that you've had experience at?
I feel like Toronto, it's not really about outright speed. I felt like last year I was really quick. I had a little bit of unfortunate luck and a little few mistakes that kind of cost me some possibly a win or podiums that weekend.
Mhm.
I felt really good right there last year. It's probably my best track on the calendar. And around there, it's really just being confident. Like you don't have to be up close to the walls. You don't have to be doing something different from everyone else. You just have to do everything perfectly average because it's hard to be a hero around there. So it's kind of just being close to the walls, but not really pushing it and just getting some temperature on the tires. Because that track there was really slick. There's not a lot of grip there. So really just getting repetition in is really important.
So, going up to Canada, just what's it been like what is it like to go to Canada?
It's honestly really cool. For our series, it's the only race outside of the United States. So it's a different experience. Of course, the atmosphere there is really amazing. It's just everything there just feels so fresh in the paddock. Of course, the paddock is in a building, which is another thing that's really interesting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of the vibe of the paddock is a lot different than some of the other races. It's all kind of more uplifting, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you feel like you need to do to have a solid result in a few weeks in Toronto?
I feel like just like I said, keeping it clean. I know I'm pretty confident I'll be quick there. It kind of depends on how we get our car up to speed. Um, it's going to be a good weekend either way, just as long as I keep it clean. Because of course, as soon as you hit the wall, you kind of lose your confidence. It's hard to build back up. And around a straight course, of course, you kind of got to be in the zone. You can't really lose focus. You can't be distracted. So yeah, just kind of building up, not really making too many mistakes is, yeah, it'll be quick.
Yeah. All right. Well, Christian, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck at Toronto. Best of luck at Toronto in a few weeks.
All right. Thank you, Casey. Goodbye.